All right, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in into part 4 of how to win friends and influence people. Hopefully you've had the chance to go over part 1, 2, and 3 because each video has their own set of principles. And in this video, part 4, I'm going to cover 9 principles that are going to help you be a leader and change people. All right. And again, it's an extensive book, a really thick book with so much, in it. It's really meaty, but it's really great. But if you don't have the time, go ahead and watch these 4 videos because these principles, you'll be able to pick which one you need in your life, which one's going to help you best, and implement those because in all honesty, there's so many principles that it's going to be extremely impossible to apply them all at the same time. So go ahead, pick the ones that you need right now best, because it could be that later on the ones you don't use now will actually become beneficial to you at a better time later then, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and recap the 9 principles first, go into them briefly, and at the end, give you 6 steps to implement that are going to guarantee you success, right? So here we go. Principle number 1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Number 2, call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. 3, talk about your own mistakes before criticizing that of others. 4, ask questions instead of giving orders. 5, let the other person save face. 6, praise the slightest improvement and every improvement. 7, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Number 8, use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. And final 9, make the other person about doing the thing that you suggest. Principle number 1, begin with praise and honest appreciation. It's easier to listen to unpleasant things after we've been praised for our good points. All right? What that is just starting off with what the person did wrong, with negativity, is not going to put them in an emotional state to want to correct the matter afterwards. So instead, use an old age technique that's called the criticism sandwich, right? So imagine a sandwich or a burger. You got your bun, you've got your lettuce, you've got your tomato, you got your cheese, and then you've got your other bun. What that is, right? You want to start with the positivity first, with the things they got right, with the things you were happy about first. Then you move to the nitty-gritty stuff where it's, the things they got wrong, what they need to do, to get it right. Then at the end, you don't want to leave it on a negativity. You want to leave things on a positive note. So you add, again, some other things that you were happy with what they did and what they got right. And again, with the idea that you're super excited about, the future because you're not expecting them to fail or to do the same mistake again. All right, so that's principle number 1. Principle number 2, call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Most of us respond bitterly to direct criticism. When we want to change people without offending them or arousing resentment, simply change one 3-letter word can be the key to success. Start swapping but, B-U-T, for and, A-N-D, when delivering critical feedback to help frame it in a positive and uplifting way instead of inferring failure and disapproval, right? I'm gonna give you an example of this. So, it's like saying, hey, John, you got a C, but you were so close to that B, hopefully next time you'll do it. All right, that's a very, on the surface example, very lame. But in reality, that person's not gonna feel good about it because, you started off in a good positive note, but then you switched it to a negative, almost discounting the positive that you said, at first to begin with, leaving them with a bad taste in their mouth. So instead, what you might want to try is saying, "Hey, John, instead, you got a C in your math test, and I can't wait for the other exam to happen anytime soon because the work that you've been putting in, I'm sure that B or even that A is guaranteed to happen." Yeah, all right, cool. You've let them know that they didn't get the B or the A. They might even get a hint that you wanted that, but instead of leaving them with a bad taste in their mouth, now they're actually looking forward to, the next test. They're looking forward to improving that C into that B or that A in that math test or whatever it is. That was just an example. But that's the idea, guys, of principle number 2. Principle number 3, talk about your own mistakes before criticizing that of others. Right? Admitting that we are also susceptible to mistakes makes a huge difference in getting other people to think the way that you want or to do the things that you want. All right? It's much easier to listen to our own faults when the person criticizing begins by humbly saying they're far from perfect, and it can help actually convince somebody to change their behavior. So again, admitting that I am also human and that it was possible that, listen, let's say with that last example, I could say, hey John, don't feel bad about that C, because I've gotten a C in the past as well. Maybe not in math, but in my English I had a C. I was shooting for B, or an A. But it didn't happen immediately. It took some time to get there. But listen, I know that you're going to get that B and that A anytime. You just got to keep putting in the work. All of a sudden, John feels motivated on getting that B and that A. All of a sudden, that person, again, is going to maybe continue to put in the hard work studying, whether they want to or not. Principle número 5. Principle number 5. Let the other person save face. When we disagree with someone, even if we are right and they're definitely wrong, we only destroy their ego by causing him or her to lose face. All right? When you have to deliver a decision or information that will cause negative feelings, all right, think about how you can make that person feel good about themselves first. All right? So if I was a boss and I was going to have to fire somebody, before I gave them the news, I might actually start with, all the great things, qualities that that person has, about, how happy how lucky I feel about having them around, and just how of an amazing person they are, before I move into saying, how unfortunate it is that you're in a position where you have to let them go because of all those things. So again, they'll understand that it is not personal, and that you yourself have a job that you have to do, and that you're just following orders from above, just like they are. So that was principle number 5. Number 4 was ask questions instead of giving direct orders. And the notes that I have for that, in case that I didn't go over, because I don't feel like I did, is that no one likes being told what to do. What if instead of telling people what to do, we gave them the opportunity to do those things themselves, to learn from their own mistakes? So it's almost like pre-framing them. It's you want to have a conversation where you're leading that person into making that decision for themselves. Like, for example, if we were working on a project and we needed to, get to 10, right? We had to write down 1 through 10. Maybe I can start by saying, listen, one of us doesn't have to have to write down 1 through 10 ourselves. We can, I can start by writing, maybe like 1 through 5. And then that person will probably say himself, yeah, that's fine. And I can do 5 through 6. 5 through 10. That's actually a great idea. All of a sudden now, you didn't have to tell that person to do something. Now that person has done it themselves, and in some cases they might even say, no, it's all right, man. If you feel like you need to do the whole thing, because I don't mind doing it, I'll do the 1 through 10. And then in that case you might be like, yeah, that's great, you do 1 through 10, because I'm going to focus on over here 1 through A through Z, whatever it is. But that's the idea, guys, with principle number 4. Sorry, I know I skipped that, but I wanted to correct that. So we have gone through principle 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'm going to continue where I left off before, which was number 6, and that is praise the slightest improvement and every improvement. All right, can you think of a time when a few words of praise had a hand in shifting the way that you thought and the person that you became? Possibly. There are certain Rocky films that and quotes that I've heard, and Muhammad Ali quotes, and so many other celebrities that I look up to, like Will Smith, that certainly motivate me to take action. So certainly being positive and encouraging to people and using encouraging words are certainly going to get people amped up about doing a certain thing if they weren't originally. So that is certainly something to think about. And again, one of the most powerful abilities that we have is helping others realize their full potential. we ignite a certain fire in the other person, to believe beyond what they thought they could, when they first started in the first place. All right. And then, of course, by noting small steps and minor improvements, we encourage the other person to keep improving. All right. Principle number 7, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Meaning that if you want to improve a person's in a certain aspect, act though as if that particular trait were already one of their outstanding characteristics. Maybe you want your friend to just be happier around people. So you might actually make it your mission that at parties, you're going to say hi to everyone. You're going to carry around a big smile. You're going to, carry a drink. You're going to offer people, to dance in the floor. You're going to, spike up random conversations with strangers. It might get your friend thinking that, hey, I should probably do the same. Especially, they're at a party where, it's going to seem like they're maybe shy or like maybe they don't want to talk to people, when that's not the case. So when they see you take a certain action, you're actually motivating that person to mirror those same actions and do exactly what it is that you want them to do. Principle number 8, use encouragement, make the fault seem easy to correct. All right, if we tell our children, spouse, employee, or whoever it is, right, that we think they're stupid or bad because of a certain decision or something that they did, it's actually going to strip them away of any motivation to want to correct the matter, correct the situation, to go from bad to good, to make them, go from, doing it wrong to doing it right. Again, it has a lot to do with how you're making these people feel and the way that you should approach them. So some of these principles may seem similar, but you have to keep in mind they all each have their own intricacies. So again, make things seem easy to do. Let them know that you have faith in their ability to do it. Recognizing progress can go a long way. Number 9, which is the last principle of the 9 that we were talking about here in this video and in the book, it's make the other person happy about doing the thing that you suggest. All right, the final key to being a leader and changing people without arousing resentment is to make them happy about doing what we want them to do. Make them happy about doing what we want them to do. Seems hard, right? Well, listen, how do we do this? We do this by offering incentives. We do this by praising. We do this by authority, which are all great ways of getting people to do what we want them to do, right? At some jobs, I remember when I was in high school and college, I couldn't take a job that was just a 9 to 5, a flat pay, right? Because it wasn't encouraging, it wasn't motivating for me. So the jobs that had other incentives, like the jobs were commission-based, performance-based, those really got to me. Those were the jobs that I gravitated to because the harder I worked, the more I earned. So that's the idea. Sometimes you want to just sometimes motivate people indirectly. So keep that in mind, guys. These are the 9 principles that are going to help you do that. All right. Principle 1, begin with praise and honest appreciation. 2, call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. 3, talk about your own mistakes before criticizing that of others. 4, ask questions instead of giving direct orders. 5, let the other person save face. 6, praise the slightest improvement and every improvement. 7, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. 8, use encouragement, make the fault seem easy to correct. And 9, make the other person happy about doing the thing that you suggest. All right, guys, I'm going to give you 6 steps here to be an effective leader, to keep these guidelines in mind because, you'll probably need to pull them out in any necessary situation, a change in attitude or behavior in someone at any time, all right? And these are the 6 steps. Step 1, be sincere. Don't promise anything you can't deliver. 2, know exactly what you want in the other person. 3, be empathetic. Ask yourself, what is it the other person really wants? 4, consider the benefits that person will receive from doing what you suggest. 5, match the benefits to the person's wants. And 6, when you make your request, put it in a form that will convey to the other person that the idea that he personally will benefit from it. steps. And those were the 9 principles in this particular video. So make sure to watch video 1, 2, 3, and 4. These were the how to win friends and influence people takeaway notes from the book that I read by Dale Carnegie. It's just some really amazing, it's an extensive book, so I understand if you don't have the time to go read it, but if you do purchase it, buy it, go over it, and make sure to watch all 4 videos and subscribe at the bottom if you haven't. Make sure to like it, leave your comment, let me know what you thought, and thanks so much for tuning in this long. Until the next time.